Hello, Jonathan Roumie. It's
Bonjour.
a joy to see you, to meet you again.
Thank you. Same here.
I think everyone told you, but I really wanted to tell you how much you portrayed well the role of Jesus, so thank you for that.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien. How is it to play the role of the Son of God, especially as a Christian?
It's the most important role I probably will ever play in my life, and the most important thing I will probably ever contribute to this world as an artist. So c'est vraiment un honneur.
And how this role impacted your personal relationship with Jesus? Do you feel closer to him?
Definitely. It's allowed me to, I think, draw closer to him, to go deeper in my relationship with him. The more time you spend with Jesus, whether it's studying his life, reading his words, reading the things that he's said, you can't help but be impacted by him. And he's made me want to be a better version of myself. So.
Can you tell me the story of someone's life which was completely changed by the Chosen, the TV show?
So the most impactful story that I ever heard personally was from this young woman that I met a few months ago. She's 20 years old, and she was telling me that, because she was going through a lot of struggles in her life, she was at a point a year ago where she was prepared to take her own life. So much so that she had written out a suicide letter. And she was planning on hanging herself in her family home. She had a jump rope set up on a banister and the whole thing. And somebody somehow got her to watch the first episode in the show, in the series. And it affected her so deeply that it made her realize that God loved her so much, and that she was so treasured, and that her life was valuable to God. And as a result, she didn't go through with killing herself. And a year later, we were sitting with her family in a room, in a circle, listening to this, all crying, hearing about it, and how amazing a transformation her life took because of how present Jesus was for her in this time in her life. And so the fact that a show could facilitate God working in somebody's life in this way is just incredible. Obviously, it's not surprising for God. He can do anything. But as humans, you hear this and you see the impact that your work is having in some small way. And you just have to say, well, thank God that I'm a part of this,
Yeah, it's an incredible story. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to share it.
So I have only one last question, and it's quite random, but I've noticed on previous video and on your Instagram account, and I think today as well, that you often wear rings with skulls on it.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind this, or is it just a fashion statement?
There is a story. I have another ring that I don't wear as much anymore, but that one was the first skull ring that I bought. It started out as an accessory, as a fashion accessory to a character that I played in the first play that I did in New York City many years ago, as I was playing a drummer in a rock band in a play. And then years later, I met a friend who was a nun, and I was wearing that ring, and she said, "Oh, memento mori." I said, "What?" She said, "Your skull." I said, what is memento mori? And she's like, "Oh, that's Latin for remember that you will die." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And so it just so turns out that this nun's charism, she's like a media nun, so she works for, she's a member of the Order of St. Paul. I don't know if it's an order, but I guess order, yeah, of the Daughters of St. Paul, and they are a media apostolate, and her charism in particular is memento mori, and so she's written books on it, and it's been featured in like the New York Times about this idea. And memento mori comes from a medieval devotion that many of the saints had. A lot of them kept skulls as a symbol to remind them that memento mori, one day that they will die. And by focusing on death and meditating on death in a holy way, not in a macabre or gothic, negatively gothic way, but by focusing on your death and knowing that it can come at any time, we have the opportunity to cultivate a more holy life. So that kind of became a thing for me, and I'm like, okay, so it's a cool accessory and it actually means something, and it reminds me that, like, I was just thinking about it actually on one of the breaks I had. I said, I could go to sleep and then what would happen if I just didn't wake up, Like I could just not wake up, and that would be kind of sucky for everyone. Like, we put all this money in this and now he's dead. But it was just a reminder for me for some other things. I'm like, I gotta make some calls today. And so now, and this ring I just bought recently, and I really like this one. So now I kind of carry it and wear it as a symbol of just a reminder that life is ephemeral and we have limited time on this planet. So we have to use it wisely and serve God as best we can and serve each other.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. I'm sure the reader of Info Chrétien will be very happy to learn about all of your stories.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to see you again.